Well, disgraced former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried is expected to appear in a courtroom in the Bahamas today. A source familiar with the matter tells CNN that Bankman-Fried will likely drop his extradition fight. And once that happens, he would probably return to the US quickly. Federal prosecutors from New York have charged Bankman-Fried with 8 counts of fraud and conspiracy in the United States. CNN's Kara Scanell is following the story and joins us live from New York. Good to see you, Kara. So he is set to withdraw his extradition fight, as far as we understand it. Why would he do that?
Well, Lynda, I mean, we don't have any direct answers yet from the Bankman-Fried team about why there's been this change of heart. But what we do know is that he was arrested last Monday in the Bahamas on these U.S. charges, 8 federal charges, serious charges, including wire fraud and conspiracy, where prosecutors say he stole billions of dollars from his customers and used it to buy real estate, to make other investments, and to make political donations. So he appeared in a Bahamas court last Tuesday. There, his lawyers said that they would fight extradition, but that they were also going to be reviewing their legal options. Now, since then, Bankman-Fried has been held in a Bahamian prison. It's known as Fox Hill. It has a notorious reputation. A U.S. State Department report found that there was a lack of access to nutritious meals, that the conditions were bad, where inmates were sometimes sleeping on the floors in the cells because there weren't enough beds, and also that some of the cells were rat infested and infested with maggots and other insects, so not a pleasant place to be. He was not expected to be back in court on this case until February 8th, so that's quite a long time from now. And it's not clear, though, if how much that factored into this or if there were some kind of behind-the-scenes negotiations with U.S. authorities. But by agreeing to appear today in court to waive his extradition, as a source familiar with the matter told me, it will expedite this process. Extradition fights, can carry on for weeks or months, sometimes even a year. So this will speed things up. So after this court appearance today, assuming that there is no hitch, he is expected to return to the U.S. fairly quickly. He will appear in a federal court in New York, face a judge, perhaps enter a plea if they decide to do the arraignment, but also have a discussion about bail and whether he will be held in custody or if he will be released on some sort of bail and bond. Lynda?
And so if guilty, he could face up to 115 years behind bars. Certainly the list of charges, Kara, is very long.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. He's facing 2 counts of wire fraud. Each of those counts carry a statutory maximum of 20 years in prison. He's also facing 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. That also has a maximum of 20 years. And some of the conspiracy counts have a maximum of 5 years. Now, in the U.S., that's the maximum. Judges usually don't sentence to that level. But what can really influence a judge's decision when it comes to sentencing, and this is down the road, assuming he either were to plead guilty or be convicted, they take into account the value. And here we're talking about billions of dollars. So that certainly puts a heavy hand on the scale in terms of what his potential exposure could be. And, you know, as we have seen in past cases with Bernie Madoff, which a lot of people draw comparisons to, Madoff had pleaded guilty to running a Ponzi scheme. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison. He died recently behind bars. Of course, you know, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, he still has to appear in court. He has to, make a decision about whether he's going to fight these charges, but these are certainly very serious charges that he's facing, Lynda.
Yeah, we will be watching this case closely. Kara Scanell for us in New York. Thanks so much. Well, still to come here on Connect the World, Iran's crackdown on demonstrations, how the regime is using protesters' cell phones and social media to silence them. And the UK's top court announces its decision over a controversial deportation plan. That all is coming up when we come back. Stay with us.